Today, a company that pays a whopping 10% dividend yield and has increased it over the last decade. So let's talk about this, guys. Welcome back, my passive income investors. Today, I want to break down a company called IEP, ticker symbol on the NASDAQ, Carl Icahn, Icahn Enterprises. He's a Carl, he's an Icahn. Let's talk about it. So, Carl Icahn is a gentleman that has a net worth of $17.3 billion, guys, and he owns Icahn Enterprises, again, ticker symbol IEP on the NASDAQ, and I want to break this stock down and tell you why it interests me so much, but before I break it down, I want to step back in time and tell you how I discovered this stock. So if we go back almost, I think it was like 4 years ago, there was a very big feud between two investors, guys. One of them by the name of Bill Ackman. You can Google Bill Ackman. And then the second one was Carl Icahn. And essentially, Bill Ackman had it out for Icahn because Icahn was holding a large position in Herbalife. And Herbalife kind of looked like a bit of a Ponzi scheme, according to Bill Ackman. Now, if you don't know who Bill Ackman is, another billion-dollar investor, guys. He was one of the people that managed to short the '08 crisis, made a ton of money, and became a super professional investor. But there was the only real public feud that ever happened with Bill Ackman because he's really kept his head under the radar, and he owns a company called Pershing Square Holdings. I'll throw a chart up of it. And these guys were going at it for a long time. Maybe I'll throw some clips up of them arguing and fighting.
The number of stories I've heard from bankers, from lawyers, from people he's transacted with where he's done similar kinds of things to take advantage of someone. Well, the fortunate thing in life is I told Carl I would go to the end of the earth to make sure he paid my investors. This is not my money. These were my investors' money, every penny that he owed me with interest. Anyway, so again, I think this is not a great use of CNBC airtime.
Well, what I can tell you is
this is not an honest guy, and this is not a guy who keeps his word, and this is a guy who takes advantage of little people. That's what.
Let's make good use of it, or better use of it then. Carl, why don't you just come clean on the Herbalife thing? Are you long or not? Right. I mean, the whole market knows or suspects that you are.
I didn't get on to be bullied by you, okay? Let's say, Ackman is a liar, okay? To begin with, I've lived my life from 1960s to 70s by handshakes. I almost lost my firm a few times by handshakes. Ackman does pump and dump. He's got one of the worst reputations on Wall Street. And I'm going to tell you, this Herbalife is a classic example of what he does.
This really engaged me, this drama. It was so intellectually involving, seeing these two massive conglomerate investors battling it out between the companies they own, whether they were going to sue each other, this, that, and the other. And then over time, things changed a lot because I super admired Bill Ackman. He made a lot of videos to help investors like me understand how companies are valued and how the market generally works. But he wasn't the greatest investor ever. Nobody is. You got to get lucky sometimes too, guys. And you're going to learn from watching these kind of really iconic people because they do make a lot of mistakes. And unlike anybody else, Bill Ackman made a treacherous purchase in Valiant Pharmaceutical almost at the peak before it tanked, guys, where it dropped whoppingly. Like, the guy lost most of his money in that position and he sold out. I think he lost, like, it was hundreds of millions of dollars he lost in that position, guys. And the only reason I want to talk about this is because this drama led me into finding this company that I never had the guts to want to buy. I've never liked the holdings in it, but man, looking at this company's track record, you can't help but be shockingly impressed by what this guy has done. So Icahn Enterprises has a market cap currently of about $12.9 billion. It pays out a whopping just over a 10% dividend yield. It has a 21 PE ratio. It's got about 89,000 employees and 186,000 shares outstanding. Now, the reason this company is just so fascinating is just how rapidly they've been able to increase their dividends, guys. So to put it in perspective, the fact that you're already getting a ridiculous yield starting as it is, in 2005, this company was paying out a 0.01 10 cents essentially payout ratio, guys, per quarter. So 40-cent dividend yearly or 0.1 10 cents quarterly. And from 2005 all the way to 2019, he is now paying out a whopping $1.75 a quarter or $7 a share in dividend payout per year, guys, which is absolutely insane to think that you can get that kind of payout, guys. That's real estate kind of payout. Like, this company has been able to pay that out consistently every year without missing a heartbeat, and their holdings are very weird to me. It kind of reminds me of the poor man's Warren Buffett kind of investment style. This company reminds me a lot of like a downgraded version of Warren Buffett. They do pay out most of their stock in dividends, and this holdings are huge, but they're companies you would have never really heard of before. Some of them maybe. So let's just go through them real quickly. I don't know what a lot of them are. I've kind of scanned through them real quick. We have PSC Metals. I'm not sure if it's PSC Metals. It might be Ferrous Resources. One of these companies vaguely talks about they do mining in Brazil. You have CVR Petroleum. You have Viscase, West Point Home, Bayswater, Pep Boys, Trump Entertainment Resorts. You have Tropicana Entertainment Resorts. You have American Rail Car, Federal Mogul. I don't know what most of them are except for Trump Entertainment, Tropicana Entertainment. Like, it's such a weird diversified portfolio, and I mean, if this is something that interests you, maybe you should do some serious looking into their books. I think in 2017 is the farthest date I looked into their books, and it looked like they had a 2/3 debt to capital or asset ratio, which isn't terrible, which just essentially means that they have, so if they had to liquidate everything today, they would be left with 1/3 of their assets after they paid off their liabilities. And it just seems like a generally all around fairly well-run company. You notice Herbalife isn't in here anymore. I want you guys to let me know and slap a like on this video if you remember that feud between Bill Ackman and Carl Icahn. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, because I can't get over this dividend yield. Usually when a company pays a 10+% dividend yield and they're not into real estate, you really want to be hesitant on buying it. But I think how this company works is, considering Carl Icahn owns 93, I think it's 93, don't quote me on it, but it should be about 93% of this entire company. I might throw it up here after I look it up. But he pays himself through these companies, so I imagine he just wants to get the biggest payout possible, as he's the majority owner in this company. And I mean, why not just pay it out to the shareholder? He's like, I want to spend the money I make, and I don't want to be holding equity. He's a bit of an older guy, so I'm sure he wants to spend, reinvest, do whatever he does with his money, which is why he's worth so bloody much. It's kind of crazy, really. So let me know, guys. I wanted to do a bit of a different video today because I'm tired of looking at the Snapchat and the Tesla and the Apple. That's all anybody really talks about anymore. So I'm going to try and do deep dives into stocks that you might not know. I know I talked about GEO Group, but I'm going to constantly try and find companies like this, because honestly, there's just too much mainstream stuff going on with the big stocks, and I want to find more interesting stocks that I might even consider owning myself, as I have a very large list of them on my buy list. I just haven't got around to buying them because there's just other things that are more prudent currently for me to start building positions in. I'm going to leave some links in the description below if you guys actually want to check out the feud that went on between Bill Ackman and Pershing Square Holdings. It's going to take you back, but honestly, the lessons you can learn in this, the things I learned from it, really helped change me as an investor. There's nothing like seeing people you admire go through these kind of situations. I know it's drama and a lot of people don't want to talk about the drama, but I think it's really important, guys, to see stuff like this, because it does help educate us and understand that, you know, not all of us are right all the time, even though we've made decisions that were incredible in the past. You kind of have to take it with a grain of salt into the future, which usually makes you more comfortable as an investor, knowing just because they have billions of dollars doesn't mean they always know what they're doing. So just a little bit of a side note, guys. But yeah, so there's a bit of an interesting stock to look at today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay cool, stay awesome, and I will see you tomorrow.